Hi guys, welcome to PLAB Made Easy. My name is Ashish and I'm a junior doctor working in the UK. In today's video, I want to talk about how I ended up working in emergency medicine and why I absolutely love this specialty. Before starting this video, I want to say that if you want to support my work on YouTube, you can do so by clicking on the like button. You can share this video with your friends and colleagues and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any updates. Let's start this video. In 2020, I went for this examination called MSRA, which is Multi-Specialty Recruitment Assessment. And my purpose of appearing in this exam was just to see how difficult of an exam it is. So I applied for GP training round 2, which was open at that time, and I sat in the MSRA. When I got my scores, I was surprised because I scored very high in the MSRA. So I got a direct offer to GP training without going for any interviews. So I ended up taking it. And this GP training was giving me rotations into GP surgeries, A&E and medicine. So it was a good opportunity for me to work in medical specialties because I was not really sure what specialty to pick up. And I was really bored working in general surgery and trauma and orthopedics. So I ended up working in A&E. When I got my offer to GP training, I had my first rotation as A&E and I was really scared because I had heard a lot of horrific stories where people got caught up because they missed important things in patient assessment. And my friend said that the working hours in A&E are really challenging, so I could end up getting burnt out. So initially, to be honest, I was so frightened that I wrote to my educational supervisor that I want to change my rotation into some other specialty rather than working in A&E. But because there was no other post to take up, I ended up working in A&E. And this is an amazing thing which happened to me. So let's talk about what's so good about working in A&E. First of all, A&E is like attending a rock concert. This is very true because there's a lot of variability, there's a lot of uncertainty to what will come in from the doors, and whatever it is, you'll have to deal with it. So at one point, I could be seeing a sick child who has come with respiratory distress, and at the same time, we could be having a cardiac arrest, and then I'll be taking a part in that cardiac arrest, or we could be having a trauma call and I will be going into that trauma call and assisting there. At the next moment, I could be seeing an elderly patient who has had a fall and has come in with confusion, and after that I could be seeing a patient who is 8 weeks pregnant, has come up with very heavy PV bleed and abdominal pain. And this is amazing because there is so much variability, there's a lot of adrenaline rush, and I absolutely love this. The second one is that you learn everything. So as I said earlier, you see children, you see pregnant women, you see elderly, you see middle-aged people, you see all kind of pathology, you see most of the medical patients, trauma and orthopedic patients, surgery patients, ops and gynae, pediatrics, ENT, dermatology, amazing amount of dermatology. So you learn everything. You get to see all of the cases of all kind of presentations of all diseases. So this is an amazing thing which I realized after working in A&E, that I was learning each and everything. The next thing is that you realize what teamwork actually is. So I had read in a lot of job descriptions that you need a person to be a team player and they required team players to be working in that job. But I never knew what team player is and what teamwork is. So when I joined A&E, I got to realize what teamwork actually is. So in A&E, we have specialist nurses, we have registrars, we have the ambulance crew, which is amazing. What they do, if they have a sick patient, the sick patients call the ambulance, and then the ambulance crews or paramedics goes there and they take a detailed history, they examine the patient, stabilize the patient, bring them to A&E. And this can either be by an airlift or they can bring the patient by ambulance. They have a chat with the navigator, who's the main nurse of A&E, and they give the history and examination findings there. And then the doctor goes and assesses this patient. They try to do all the management stuff in A&E for this patient, and then they refer this patient to the relevant specialty. So you get to chat with a lot of people, you get to talk to the ambulance crew, you get to talk to the specialist nurses, you get to speak to the family members of the patient, you get to speak to different kind of specialties, because a lot of times the diagnosis is not very certain. So there could be a medical element to the condition of the patient, and then there could be a surgical element as well. So you end up speaking to all of these specialties. And if there is a trauma call, or if there is a cardiac arrest, or if there is a pre-alert patient, which is a very sick patient who has come in, so we work as a team and we do different kind of things. Like one of the doctors is managing the airways, and this is usually the anesthetist doctor, and other doctor manages the breathing part, other one takes bloods and manages the circulation part. So it is overall amazing teamwork, and this is what I love in A&E. The fourth point is you work at your own pace. So I'll tell you a story. I was working in trauma and orthopedics and general surgery for quite a long time, and we used to have these night shifts, and usually junior doctors have to carry a bleep. It's not usually, but always you have to carry a bleep. So what happens is that you have to manage the ward patients, and then you have to manage the new admissions which come through A&E or GP referrals. So when you are going and clerking a patient in A&E, you could be having a bleep from the ward that one of the patient is desaturating or having a low blood pressure, and then you'll have to rush into the wards to stabilize this patient. And then the A&E nurses will call you that one of your patients is waiting for a long time, where are you, and things like that. So you don't get to work at your own pace. So this was something very irritating for me, especially when you're working in surgery. One person is covering trauma and orthopedics, general surgery, and ENT, gynecology, lot of surgical specialties in this country. And for my hospital, I was just covering TNO and general surgery, but it is a lot of work and you don't get to work at your own pace. So in A&E, I've realized that this is a specialty in which you can work at your own pace. It's true that you have to refer the patient as soon as possible after making a diagnosis, but you get to work at your own pace. You get to do all the history taking examination, your assessment, your primary survey, your secondary surveys, take bloods, go for investigations, go for other kind of investigations like an X-ray, CT, ultrasound, and you make a diagnosis and you work at your own pace. No one is interrupting you that why are you not seeing the other patients and why are so many other patients waiting. You just concentrate on one patient and you end up whole of the management of the patient and refer the patient, and then you move to other patient. So this is one of the pros of A&E. The next pro is that you get a lot of support in A&E. You always have a senior doctor, which can be your registrar, or it can be a consultant who's there on the floor, and you can always discuss cases with your senior doctors. So you see a lot of weird presentations of pathologies in A&E, and I've seen patients who have just come up with unilateral limb pain or just reduced renal tone, and they ended up getting cauda equina syndrome. And I've seen a lot of patients who had amazingly high troponin levels and this came with some minor epigastric pain. So the presentations and the diagnosis in A&E can be quite challenging, but you always have a senior doctor to discuss the case with, and this is amazing in A&E. Also, you have all kind of different healthcare professionals like nurses, and you have healthcare assistants who help you with a lot of other things like taking bloods, getting ECGs done, and this is just amazing in A&E. The next thing which I absolutely love while working in A&E is that I don't have to carry a bleep and there are no ward patients. So I can concentrate on a patient at a time, and I make management plans, and then I refer this patient to the relevant specialty. I don't have to be bothered about some patient who is desaturating in the wards, and I don't have to rush into the wards, come back to A&E again, and then go back to the ward to collect some blood or do some investigation for a patient who is destabilizing there. So I just see a patient, refer the patient to a specialty, and then I'm done. I don't have to think about a patient at home, that what will happen to their potassium levels the next day, or what will happen if they lose a lot of blood in surgeries. Will they have a low hemoglobin? Will they end up getting transfused? Or what will happen to their diabetes the next day? It's just acute care, and I don't have to deal with chronic patients. The next amazing thing about A&E is that you actually get to diagnose diseases. This is very different from what I was getting in general surgery and TNO. In general surgery, the doctors heavily rely on CT abdo-pelvis, and the diagnosis there is made by the A&E doctors and the radiologist. And this is also true for trauma and orthopedics, where you see an obvious deformity and it is a broken bone in X-ray, and you just take the patient to theaters and you repair it. So in A&E, you actually have a list of differential diagnoses to work on, and you get to make a proper diagnosis for this patient, and then you refer this patient to the relevant specialty. And I think this is the essence of medicine, and this is what makes us doctors. And you actually get to use your brains, you actually get to work around different kind of differentials, you get to exclude a lot of other things, you get to include a lot of other things, and this is amazing about A&E. The next amazing thing is that you finally know what to do when you're called to see an acute patient in the community. You must have been part of the experience in which there's an announcement in the airplane that there is a sick patient and we need a doctor here. Most of us are really scared of these scenarios, right? When I first came to UK, I was traveling by Etihad, and there was an announcement that, oh, we need a doctor here, there's a sick patient. And I was really scared. I was like in two minds whether I should take up this call, go there, or just close my eyes and keep lying down on my seat. But I ended up going to see that patient, and this was a young lady who was having a lot of nausea and vomiting, abdominal pain. But now I am really confident to see a patient in acute settings, especially in the community. So if a patient collapses in front of me, or if there's a patient who's sick in the airplane, I am really confident to go and evaluate this patient and make management plans. So this is a skill which you learn while working in A&E. The next thing is that you get immense satisfaction when you treat acute presentations. So there could be a child who is coming in with a very high respiratory rate, who's desaturating, coming in with shortness of breath. You assess them, you make a diagnosis of acute exacerbation of asthma, you give them oxygen, you give them salbutamol, ipratropium, you give them steroids, and in front of your eyes they become normal. And this is deeply satisfying, and this is an amazing part of working as an A&E doctor. And I don't think you'll find this in other specialties, like different kind of medical specialties or surgical specialties, where you are mostly dealing with the chronic problems of the patient. The next pro is that half of the time is vacation time. By this I mean that you get these long stretches of offs which you don't get in other specialties. So in other specialties you could be working daily, just getting the weekends off, and you could be working 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 if it is an on-call day for you, or you could be working night shifts, but you don't get these long stretches of offs which you get in A&E. So in A&E I could be working 10-hour shifts at a time for 5 days, and then I get 2 days off, and then I have to work 12.5 hour night shifts for 4 days, but then I get 7 days off, and then I work a long shift again for a particular time, and then I get 7 days off again. And you can really utilize these 7 days to take a proper trip to a city, or you can learn some different skills, and you don't have to go there every day, you don't have to work there every day. And this is an amazing part of working in A&E. That is all for this video, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and got an idea of how the life of an A&E doctor is while they're working in the NHS in the UK. If you want to see similar videos, click on the like button, share this video, and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any important updates. I will see you soon in another such video. Thanks for watching.